But now joining us on the guest line, I tried to book Callum Bisping today, but he was not available. So I guess we'll settle for the UFC middleweight champion, future Hall of Famer, Michael Bisping is with us. Champ, I know you're busy, buddy. Thank you for the time today, sir. How are you?
I am very, very well. And getting Callum on a phone or anything at this time of the morning is incredibly hard. I just tried to get him to come to the gym with me, and, typical teenager doesn't want to get out of bed, the lazy shit.
Well, hey, I don't blame him, man. Sleep is underrated. So at this point, I mean, in all seriousness, does Callum, have higher upside than you? I mean, he's tough. He's got size. I'm all in on Callum Bisping as a combat sports guy.
Oh, dude, listen, I say to him all the time, I mean, that's why I wanted him to come to the gym this morning. I'm doing MMA sparring. A friend of mine is getting ready for a fight in M1 in Finland. So I'm going down to do some sparring with him. And Callum's wrestling is exceptional these days. He's winning gold at every tournament he goes to. He doesn't want to fight, but still he does jiu-jitsu and he does grappling. I'm like, son, come down and just be, experience the energy in the gym. It's a positive place for him to be. He was in a wrestling camp last week. And as I said, it's been a week now, and he's been lying in bed like a lazy bastard every morning. So I was like, dude, come on, out of bed. And he's like, I got to do a blood test for wrestling today. I'm like, okay, you dodged the bullet this morning, but tomorrow morning we're in the gym.
So does he play football as well or no?
He did play football when he first came out here, but then he tried wrestling, and he's just all in on the wrestling. He absolutely loves it. He's obsessed with it. And to be honest, he was, he's built for a footballer, but, obviously we grew up in England. He didn't really have, he understands the game, of course, but he wasn't in love with the game.
Yeah, well, that's good because you will find no bigger fan of American football in the NFL than me. But if I had boys, man, there's no way I'm letting them play football. And I know that's maybe not a minority opinion, but there's a fucking car crash on every play, dude. I mean, it's nasty.
Wrestling is much safer, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, I see tragically these stories of young boys passing away now and again. And, the risks are real. It is definitely a dangerous sport. And listen, all combat sports are dangerous. But, that's the very essence of that game is to drive into somebody with your head and try and take them out. So, fortunately, Callum has more brains than me.
Yeah.
We all know that I am exceptionally articulate and very, very intelligent. But believe it or not, Callum actually has more brain cells than me, which is astonishing, but it's true. So we're trying to hold on to them.
Yeah, man, he's got a nice girlfriend. He seems to have everything at his fingertips right now. So, all right, so Chris Weidman wins last weekend, and I would imagine, Mike, that you expected that your name would be coming out of his mouth shortly thereafter if he won that fight.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was actually sat with Callum, and I picked Weidman to win that fight.
Right.
We myself and Luis J. Gomez, we do our own podcast, and we did predictions. And he spoke about Gastelum, and he had Gastelum in a parlay. I said, "You're fucking crazy, man." I said, "There's no way Gastelum wins this fight." Anyway, we watched it, and I said to Callum, I said, "Oh yeah, there you go. Weidman won. Won. I knew that was going to happen." I said, "Watch him. He's going to call me out now." And Callum said, no, he won't. I said, he will. And then, sure enough, that British bomb, yada, 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 whatever he said, and there we go. And I got a kick out of it. I got a laugh out of it. And he didn't refer to me by my name, though. He called me a British bomb. So I just tweeted out, say my name, bitch. Having a bit of fun, and then it kind of went to the gutter pretty soon after that. But, fair play to him. That was his moment. He's enjoying himself. He's basking. He's forgotten what it feels like to be a winner because it's been so long. I mean, he has been destroyed for the last 2 years in every fight that he's gone in. So he was just high on adrenaline and high on the moment. And God bless him. Enjoyed that experience, Chris.
Mike, I know you didn't even really want to talk about him because you feel like he's not even close to deserving a shot. Is that correct?
Well, no, he's not. Let's be honest. He just lost his last 3 in a row. Generally, when you get knocked out 3 times in a row, you get cut from the UFC. Now, he's a former champion. He's got a brand name. People know who he is. He's been good to the company. So I wouldn't expect him to get cut. But it's a far cry from being considered for a world title fight. That's for sure. So I don't want to talk up all these fights that in reality aren't going to happen. I mean, listen,
Right.
I've got no qualms fighting Chris Weidman, but I'll say it again, and I've said it before, as a champion, you want to maximize on that potential, on that time, because it doesn't last forever. So you don't want to take every fight you can get if it's not going to sell and do big business. This is my time now to maximize my potential, to earn some money, and try and set myself up for the rest of my life. And fighting a guy that's just been knocked out fucking 3 times in a row is not going to do that.
Now, Mike, I've never been more confused about a division than the middleweight division right now, right? I mean, you were supposed to fight Whitaker. He was the one who beat Romero for the interim title. He hurt his knee. Where do you go from here? What is the fight? Obviously, George St. Pierre, I know he called into your podcast, Believe You Me. There's a little plug for you. The other day. What did he say, and what's the approach from here?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Listen, and you're absolutely right, Kenny. The middleweight division kind of is in disarray, and I'm at the top of it, but it's not really by my design.
Right.
Of course, I'll just do a little history lesson. UFC offered me Dan Henderson less than 48 hours after beating Rockhold. I beat him. Mm-hmm. Then UFC offered me George St. Pierre. I gladly accept. Then the fight falls through. Then they say the winner of Whitaker and Romero. I say my knee's injured because it was injured. You've seen me limping about the Fox Studios. So then they do an interim title fight. I say, sure, go ahead. Who fucking cares? It just means the fight will be bigger because they can market it as champion versus champion.
Right.
On the tough finale fight recently in Vegas on the Friday, I negotiated a deal with Craig Pelagian, the producer of The Ultimate Fighter, and Dana White, agreeing to coach and fight, to coach against and to fight the winner of the Whitaker and Romero fight. Mm-hmm. So I accepted, in essence, a fight against both of those people. So all these people that like to say that I'm fucking ducking everyone, they're out of their minds. I accepted either one. I didn't care who it was going to be. I accepted it. Whitaker won the fight. Whitaker didn't want to do Whitaker didn't want to do the Ultimate Fighter, and it turns out that he's now got a knee injury as well. So here we are once again back in disarray. I want to fight before the end of the year. God knows I want to get paid. I want to earn some money. I'm not getting any younger, but I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, Yoel just lost the interim title fight, so what is the point in fighting him?
Right.
I'm trying to get the GSP thing going. GSP called into the podcast, as you said. George, basically, George, he's very polite. He just expressed his desire to fight me, said he wanted to fight me, all this type of stuff. Nothing too inflammatory, nothing too, nothing too big, really. He just said, I want to fight you. I said, I want to fight you. Well, let's do it. Let's make some money. He said that he wants to fight me because my stock is the highest right now. But that was about it. I mean, we'll see what happens. Dana said yesterday that ship sailed. I don't see how the ship can fucking sail, though. If George is saying he wants to fight me,
right,
and I'm saying I want to fight him, this isn't ancient Rome. We're not fucking slaves.
Right. UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping joining us here on the Anakin Florian podcast. So you were scheduled to fight Robert Whitaker, I believe, at UFC 193. That didn't happen. Were you actively preparing to fight him at that point in time?
Yes, of course I was for the first couple of weeks, and then I had some loose bodies floating around in my elbow, and I had to have them removed. It was causing me a lot of discomfort and pain, and hindering my ability to train. But regarding training, pretty much this whole year. I mean, people like to talk, and they see these little clips of me training here and there, and they say, "Oh wow, I thought you were injured." Listen. I am injured. I'm still injured now. I'm going to the doctors on the way home. But that doesn't mean that I'm not doing a bit of training here and there. Hitting a bag, hitting a few cards, doing some stuff like that is one thing. Doing a training camp, an intense training camp for 8 weeks, 2 sessions a day, 6 days a week, that's a very, very different thing. But even when I was doing those training sessions, I didn't know if I was doing footwork for George St. Pierre or Robert Whitaker or against the southpaw against Yoel Romero. So I was doing a little bit of everything.
So your win over Anderson Silva, and people are going to think I'm kissing your ass here, but I'll take it. So I didn't call the fight, but I was in the building just watching it as a fan in London, and I've said repeatedly on this show, it is the most inspired I have ever been by a professional athlete live in person, just your desire to stay in the fight, unlike some other guys we see whose names will not be mentioned. Have you watched that fight back in the last year?
Do you know what? I haven't. Not in the last year. Generally I don't watch my fights. You know, I mean, if you come into my house, other than seeing two belts in the display cabinet, that's all you will see. There isn't shrines of me. There isn't pictures. I don't have fucking effigies of myself. I don't have this and that. I don't sit and watch my fights. You know, listen, it's cool. I enjoy what I do. I love it, but I love my wife and children more, and you know, it's just a little part of who I am as a person. So, you know, I don't bask in my own glory, sit there and jerk myself off watching me fucking fight Anderson Silva. But I have seen it, and I was proud of it. I thought I clearly won the fight, and yeah, man, round 4 and 5, I had to dig deep, that's for sure.
All right, a few rapid-fire questions here on the way out with Michael Bisping. All right, better fighter, Bob Whitaker or Chris Weidman?
Robert Whitaker by far. Chris Weidman on the Son and Gagey scale ranks a 1.
All right, Michael, when you are inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, who will you choose to be the person to induct you?
Either my wife or Jason Perillo.
Okay, I thought it might be Perillo. All right, buy or sell, Callum Bisping has at least one amateur mixed martial arts fight.
Yes.
At least one amateur fight. All right, and then and then final question, man. Are you looking forward to retirement and the TV work and hanging out with your kids? I mean, don't you get sick of the grind at some point? I mean,
hanging out with
Christ.
Kenny Florian? Yeah.
Well, hanging out with Kenny is actually a very good time. We share a lot of laughs. But I'll tell you this. It scares me to death, guys. It fucking scares me, man. It really does. Because, listen, you know, I mean, my mum and dad were great. They loved me very much, and my dad worked hard and this and that. But there was no silver spoon in my mouth, mate. No fucking silver spoon. Far from it. And, you know, I didn't get an education. I left school at 16, and I've done every shitty dead-end job under the sun. And I still remember being flat broke and borrowing money off my mum when she didn't have any money to start with, you know, and just not being able to pay bills. And now we live a very good lifestyle. And I want my kids to continue to live in that lifestyle. I don't spend money. I don't do it. All right, I've got a nice car. So fucking what? I'm allowed to have a nice car. But you know, generally, I don't spend any money. If you look at my bank balance, the only money that gets spent is my wife and kids going here, there, and everywhere while I'm working. And I do it all for them. And I'm just scared of when, you know, I mean, there's shit on the table, things go well. I mean, yesterday I was at an audition, then I was at a meeting, then I went to UFC Tonight, then I did interviews. And, you know, it's the same today. It's non-stop. That's why you couldn't get through. I'm negotiating going out to Australia and doing some appearances there. You know, I'm a tireless worker. And yeah, retirement scares me. You know, I mean, yeah, I can't wait to fucking retire because, believe it or not, getting punched in the face is getting kind of old.
Right. Well,
but at the same time, I do enjoy delivering a good punch to the face. So, you know, maybe 2 more fights, and that's me done.
All right, well, you're gracious, man, to fit us in today. We'll see you on the desk this weekend. I think you should drink before the show this time, though.
Why do you say that? I've never drank before the show.
No, I'm saying I think you should. I think for a weigh-in show, a couple shots of whiskey not going to hurt anyone.
Well, you know what? I will give that a try one time, but it'll have to be our little secret. I'm not sure that falls in with the Fox code of conduct.
That's
but,
right.
Fuck it, who gives a shit? They don't know. Listen, I talk like I'm drunk anyway, so
Right, there you
a
go.
clue.
There you go. I used to do Boston radio with a little whiskey in my system, full disclosure. So, all right, champ, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the time, and we look forward to seeing you on the desk this weekend, man. Thank you.
Anytime, fellas. Keep up the good work. See you tomorrow, Kenny.
See you tomorrow, Mike.